Bridge. Smoke bearing green 40, sir. Bismarck on cruiser, bearing green 40, about 12 miles. Closing fast.
Those are not cruisers, they are battleships. Captain, open fire on the leading ship.
Target leading ship. Stand by to open fire.
Target leading ship. Stand by to open fire.
Out of port.
Open fire when you have the range. Concentrate on Bismarck.
Aye, sir. Let me know when you're ready to engage guns, and then we'll turn. Aye, sir.
Tell Prince of Wales to open fire when she's in range.
Aye, sir.
How to stop it? Shoot!
Range 25,000, bearing 300. All turrets ready to open fire, sir. Open fire! Fire! Fire!
That was too close for comfort. Turn 20 degrees to starboard, Captain.
Shoot!
Fire!
Unbelievable.
Blimey. What happened?
The hood's gone.
Good God. Yeoman,
Yes, sir.
make an admiralty from Prince of Wales. Tell them the hood has blown up.
Aye, aye, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. How are we? That was one of my favourite scenes from Sink the Bismarck, and which you could call a classic naval engagement movie if there ever was one. Yeah, that's right. Tonight I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favourite naval engagement movies. Now, the caveats for those that can be included in this. Has to have a major narrative of the storyline needs to take place on board a ship. There has to be ship-to-ship combat, and there can't be a major narrative taking place below the surface. So, in other words, characters also on board a submarine in the movie. So, for example, Greyhound, starring Tom Hanks, would be allowed to be included in that list. The Enemy Below, which is told from both the Allied and the German point of view, from a crew in a submarine and a crew on board a ship, would not be allowed because that has a major narrative on board a submarine. My reasons for excluding essentially what are submarine films is because we've done another stream about top 5 submarine movies. You can find it on the channel where we talked about Crimson Tide, and I think we've actually done a stream on just Crimson Tide and The Hunt for Red October as well. But yeah, so this, I specifically wanted to stick to stuff really above the surface, although, as I said, the Greyhounds, scenes where the narrative is on the surface but submarines are a threat, that's allowed. So So that's a clip from Sink the Bismarck, which is one of my favourite sort of naval movies of all time. Now, when I watched these things when I was younger, I wasn't the biggest fan of naval engagement films until I saw one called The Battle for the River Plate, which was about the Allied attempts to sink the German battleship, the Graf Spee. Sorry, mate. I'll sort that out inside, man. I see you guys sent you the wrong link, didn't I? My apologies. Thank you for popping up in the chat and letting me know. I must have actually accidentally had that one. There we go. It's in your inbox now. So, so that movie kind of turned things around for me, and I probably saw that, I want to say around 79, maybe 1980, something like that. It was kind of around that kind of time. And that was a film that then made me sort of want to watch more kind of films about naval engagements, because that was a really good one. Let me welcome to the panel. The Inside Man is here. Welcome, sir. Good to
Hello.
be back.
Yeah, no, great to be here. Yeah.
Sorry,
as you well know.
The wrong link there. Sorry about that.
That's all right. As you know, it happens. But
yeah.
I'm really pleased that you invited me onto this one, because
no worries.
We're very much on the same page on this, I think.
Yeah. Well, indeed. So just to clarify the caveats for choices, this has got to be a film. You've got to pick films where the main narratives are on the surface. So, for example, we could not include a movie like The Enemy Below, because that's 50% on the surface with the destroyer crew, and then 50% on the submarine. We've done a submarine stream before.
We did.
So, so I wanted to sort of make sure we covered something different. I just showed a clip from Sink the Bismarck to start us off. I have a feeling that's a movie we're going to come back to at some point this evening.
Yeah.
Welcome also, Darth Plato. How's your microphone?
Hey. I was thinking about Sink the Bismarck and the run up to the show. Doesn't that mostly take place in that office bathroom setting?
No. It takes place on board the bridges of ships and also the headquarters back home. There's a big narrative on board the German ship itself. There's also a narrative that's the Battle of the
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I just remember the backroom stuff. And,
there's multiple narratives, and a lot of it's set at sea, as I just demonstrated from the clip Dutch Dome.
Yeah, because of the caveat. I'm sorry. No.
It's still a feature film that's about a major naval engagement. So it's even if 20 minutes of it was only set in the ocean, that'd be fine.
Okay, because of the caveat that you put in your description, I wasn't sure that I could include it or not. So I have a list that doesn't include it and a list that does.
Basically, as long as the narrative is about stuff that's happening predominantly above water, i.e. there's not a character narrative with 8 people on board a submarine as well, or you've got major dialogue scenes on board a sub. We've done a sub one. We had Hunt for October in that. We had Das Boot.
Right. So you can include Das Boot. You can include Top Gun. You can include Dunkirk.
I wouldn't include Top Gun, because Top Gun is not about a ship-to-ship battle.
True, that's true, but it is a Navy.
There has to be a surface engagement in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I said. So you can't include Top Gun.
No, you can't include Top Gun.
And that's also true for Dunkirk. Dunkirk does involve littoral warfare, which is part of the Navy. What the Navy does.
Yeah, Dunkirk. Well, if we were talking about Dunkirk, I would say, a push, I suppose you could, but it's not really about a naval engagement. That's really about an evacuation. So there's not.
It's still a Navy operation.
You can include the Greyhound. for example, because the narrative predominantly takes place.
I like the Greyhound a lot. I didn't include that though.
Yeah, above surface, etc. So some people are putting their choices in the chat already, and that's great. But I'd rather you wait until we're actually on our pick, and then guys, you can all give us your number 5 and then your number 4 and so on, and we'll see what gets the most points.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Okay, go ahead.
So number 5 pick is worth 1 point. Number 4 is worth 2. Number 3 is worth 3. Number 2 pick is worth 4 points, and number 5 spot is worth 5. So I'm going to total all of those up between us and chat, and we'll see what comes out. We'll see what comes out first, which would be great to see. Anyway, so is that all clear with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. All right. So when we do top 5s, we always talk about choices that are sort of near misses, didn't quite make it into the list, but we might want to give them special mentions. Sure. So I'm going to let each of my guests, I'll get my sand timer out here because I want to be fairly strict on the time so that we don't go too late. But I'll give each of my guests, including myself, 5 minutes to cover any near misses that they want to mention. Now, if these near misses are in your top 5, don't tell us that. If somebody talks about a top 5 which is in your top 5 list, we'll all talk about it then, because that will save us repeating ourselves, and we'll all get to contribute about that movie as it comes up.
Okay, one more question.
One more question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Would you include a movie that takes place mostly on a gunboat rather than a proper Navy ship?
You're cutting in and out then. I got some of that. I didn't get all of it.
That's fine. I'll say it again.
Yeah. You've got lots of extra wires. I'm not sure that helps.
Would you include a movie that takes place mostly on a gunboat rather than a proper Navy ship?
Well, it's naval engagements, so it's that could be acceptable if that's one of your picks. I'm not really bothered about the definition of boat. I'm not really bothered about the era either. So I mean, you can be
you said
Napoleonic. It can you know what I mean. World War One.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, and my list reflects that.
Okay, good. But Battleship Potemkin would not be allowed because almost none of the film takes place on board the Battleship Potemkin, for example. So it's not a film about naval engagements. It's a film about the Russian Revolution. All right. Okay. Cool. So Inside Man, I'm going to give you 5 minutes from now to talk about your near misses or your special mentions before you get into your top 5.
There was one in particular that really sprung to mind the moment you mentioned this, and that was The Final Countdown.
Interesting. Yeah.
Although it's not strictly a naval engagement, but it kind of is.
I would have allowed it.
Yeah, it's the aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, that encounters a storm, and it goes through time. So it's a kind of a time portal that, and coincidentally, and by sheer good fortune or bad fortune, it goes back the day before Pearl Harbor, and they are faced with a crisis of whether to intervene in the attack on Pearl Harbor or not to intervene. And a pilot is shot down, a Japanese Zero pilot is shot down. He's taken prisoner, taken on board the USS Nimitz, and they discover that they are back in 1941 because of the information that he conveys to them or the information they extract from him, and discover that they are a day away from Pearl Harbor, the attack on Pearl Harbor. It's a very, very interesting film. It was a huge love of mine when I was a kid, because I was very much into the military and very much into time travel as well. Science fiction, and it was for me the perfect crossover. It was that what if scenario. What if you could intervene in something that was such a terrible, terrible loss for the United States Navy and military. Would you intervene? Would you intervene in that situation that would save so many thousands of lives?
Yeah.
But of course, the problem is by intervening, then the US would not declare war on Germany and the Axis powers. So it's a very, very big moral dilemma story. And that's what I loved about it. It sort of asked those questions, or it posed those questions. And I still, to this day, I absolutely adore this movie. I would never want to see a remake of this movie. This was one of my perfect movies when I was a kid, I think. Absolutely love it. Love this movie to bits. And as far as my honorable mentions, I think this is probably the only one. I do love naval movies. I think The Greyhound is an exceptional film.
Yeah, it's a good film. I like Greyhound.
It is a good film. I was expecting more, which is very unfortunate. But I think this is going to be my one and only honourable mention. So
I think that's a good pick. I remember it. I didn't see it at the cinema, sadly, but I remember the trailers for it on TV and sort of trying to convince my parents to take me, and Dad wasn't interested. And it was 1980 it came out, so I was still too young to go to the cinema on my own. I wasn't allowed to go to the cinema on my own until 84, where of course I promptly went and saw Terminator completely illegally. But as soon as this came out on video, it was something that my friend Paul Wilkins rented, and he was massively into it. He had like USS Nimitz things written everywhere, all over everything. And I like Soon Taek-ho is the actor who plays the Japanese pilot. And I love that scene where they read out the names of all the carriers.
Oh, wow.
To distract them. That's a great. Yeah.
It's so impactful that when he's reading out all of those carrier names, it's a phenomenal scene, and the look on his face.
He was the bad guy in Missing in Action 2, which some people may remember, and he did a few Chuck Norris films. He was in Good Guys Wear Black right before Final Countdown. No relation to the song by Europe, but it was I remember when I watched it, and I love the fact that it asks that moral question, and then it was so frustrating that then the attack doesn't go ahead because time travel loop comes back, and
it comes back,
and it was like, oh no, because you kind of wanted to see. I really wanted to see a scene where the fleet of Zeros got like ambushed, by the American jets and all shot down, and I'd not long seen Tora 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 before this, and that was one of those war films that you watch and go, oh, the Americans are not going to win in this movie, are they? Not knowing the history, you sort of start realizing, they're not going to win. But yeah, great one to mention. Darth Plato, 5 minutes for any special mentions, and great comment from 1977 Yakko, who I haven't seen in the chat before. Welcome to the channel, sir. Thank you for being here. Plato, go for it.
I just wanted to ask if I asked you in the chat if this particular movie counted or not.
Which one?
I put it into the chat, the private chat.
Oh, okay.
That's going to affect my list otherwise.
I mean, I don't think there's any scenes aboard the ship, is there? In that. It's a film about being in the Navy, but it's not a naval... The title of this stream is Naval Engagement Films. So there's got to be a battle of some sort that takes place on the screen.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, because there's a few I could probably include if that wasn't. So no, I wouldn't include that one.
Okay. In terms of my honorable mention, and try not to chuckle. I'm not sure. I'm not going to choose 300 Rise of an Empire.
Oh, the second one, yeah, that's got that massive naval battle in it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Now, the movie is garbage in a lot of ways, but it does show naval battle from that time period that I like to mention it because it strikes a conversation. See, I like talking about this stuff. So I don't necessarily think it's a great movie, but it's the movie that I'll throw out there because it starts a conversation, like Final Countdown. I didn't think about that movie for years, but you just mentioned it just now, and I remember, like, oh my gosh, I used to just sit and talk about the movie for hours on end. So I appreciate you reminding me of the movie. I might not have thought of it otherwise. Yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to consider. But off the top of my head, that's my honorable mention because there's so much to talk about. The Battle of Salamis was so important. This isn't a history stream, I get it, but that's the reason why I mention it.
I think it's probably one of the few films, not including, there's a couple of great Asian cinema films that have got massive naval conflicts in huge naval battles. But Asian cinema aside, I think this is one of the few films that's got like a naval engagement on this kind of scale.
Yeah.
And that sequence is very well done. I remember, actually, I went to see this with my ex-partner. It came out in 2014. We saw it at the cinema. If I remember rightly, it was Camden Odeon Screen 1, if I remember rightly. And I remember her turning to me after we came out of the movie and going, yeah, it wasn't a great film, was it? It's all right. It's all right. And I remember saying to her, the bit with the boats was good. So we're on the same page. Not an amazing film, but it's got a great naval sequence in it for sure.
Right. That's why it's my honorable mention, precisely for that reason. And I don't want people to laugh at me otherwise. The only reason why I'm mentioning it is because it's showing Salamis.
You still have 2 minutes left. You want to mention anything else? You done?
No. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Time finished early. Very good. And Paul Smith is saying, can you include pirate movies? Well, you can if there is a massive naval engagement in the film between two ships. Technically, yes. But we've excluded The Enemy Below because that has a narrative, and it is a favourite, and it got mentioned on another stream we did about submarine film. But it has a narrative with characters under the sea. So I've excluded character narratives below the surface, which will eliminate films like The Hunt for Red October, which also has characters above the surface, etc. Because it just gets a bit too... It muddies the waters. See what I did there? Okay, so I'll mention... I've got a couple of honourable mentions, so let me do those now. Well, one of them we've already spoken about briefly, and my understanding is that there's a sequel on the way to this. Certainly, it's been discussed. I don't know if it's gone into production. I did like the Greyhound. I remember when I watched this. It was a movie that I wanted to see at the cinema that didn't get a cinema release. Yeah. Or certainly not ahead of when it dropped on Apple. This was one of the big Apple launch movies, wasn't it? It
was indeed, yeah.
It was one of them because they had several big properties, and this was one of them. And I remember saying to my then partner, right, we've got to watch this. We've got to turn all the lights out. We've got to watch this at night, and the telly's going to be the only thing on. And that's what we did to kind of give that feeling of just all-encompassing being on the ship, because we couldn't go and see it at the cinema. And I wanted to kind of feel like I was there. This is a film I would go and watch on the big screen if the opportunity arose. If there was a screening of this at the Prince Charles, I'd go back and watch it because I'd like to see what it looks like on a really big screen, because I think it would look good. I did really like it. I thought there was one bit that I thought, now you've kind of spoiled it, where they had the Germans broadcasting on the radio, Greyhound, we're coming for you, or whatever it was. And I was like, fuck off. No German U-boat commander would ever do that.
Ever.
Yeah. Just would not happen. I mean, I don't know if there is a record of that ever happening. Maybe there is, and maybe somebody did.
Actually, there is one.
Oh, there is? There is a record of that?
Yes, but he wasn't shooting his mouth off, bragging or taunting them. It was down near the Gulf of Mexico. They were waiting for they were waiting for a flotilla to come out to go to England to deliver supplies, and they tried to fake the call sign of one of the Navy ships. He's saying it's okay to come out or something to that effect. They were trying to lure them out so they could sink them.
Right.
But yeah, that's right. But somebody hit on the idea. Wait a second, that signal is triangulating all wrong, and so that so nothing happened. The plot was blown up. So that can happen, and it did happen, but it would only happen in that context. You wouldn't have this guy shooting his mouth off like he did in Greyhound. I don't know why they included it. Tom Hanks prides himself on making movies that are historically accurate, at least according to him, and I just don't see that at all. I actually kind of have a mediocre view of Saving Private Ryan because of that, and Greyhound much for the same reason. I mean, I like the interaction on Greyhound, the military setting, the way they were talking. I like that setting, but it's that scene, that was the worst part of the movie, the German guy talking over the radio. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that part of it. Anyway, it's taken up loads of my time for my honourable mentions.
You can have my 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. So, well, I wanted to mention that. I also want to mention, they're not on my list, but I want to mention both of the Midway movies. I'm very, very tempted to do a Lance edit of like I did with The Bridge Too Far, and I incorporated loads of footage from all the movies that have covered Operation Market Garden, including the Band of Brothers episode, and I now have this super long mega cut of Bridge Too Far. It's like 4.5 hours long. It's wicked. And you have two Midway movies, one of which was made in 1976 with Charlton Heston and Henry Fonda, and then you also have the one that was made in 2019 with Ed Skrein. And I made a point of going to see the 2019 one at the cinema, and I did enjoy it, particularly the dive bombing sequences. You really felt like you were in the cockpit with the guy. But it spent about half an hour of the film covering the stuff that had happened in Pearl Harbor, briefly covering the Battle of Coral Sea, and then also briefly covering the bombing raid on Tokyo. And I'm like, there's other films about the bombing raid on Tokyo. There isn't a movie about the Battle of Coral Sea, okay, but all of that could have been in like an opening scrolling title credit. And then the build up to Midway could have been done with a lot more drama, with some with some effective dialogue scenes and things like that. And I feel the 2019 movie could have been much better. It did reek of too many cooks. I suspect that they were forced to mention, things like Pearl Harbor and stuff because some network executive somewhere said, well, you better include that because most kids now don't know what Pearl Harbor is. And okay, no, they don't, maybe, but at the end of the day, they just need some titles at the beginning that's saying, America's been attacked at Pearl Harbor. Several battleships were sunk. They're now in the war. The next battle in the Pacific is deemed to decide the course of the battle of against Japan. Blah blah blah. Whatever. That's so they did waste a lot of screen time on the 2019 film.
That's the sort of thing that drives me crazy. That you take something, you put it on the lower shelf. Oh, we have to talk down to people. No, make them come up to you.
Yeah.
If they're curious about it, they'll look it up.
I want to give it its due. It did have a lot about it that was really good. I actually thought that the effects work was really excellent. I liked the scenes with the Japanese. There was a lot of stuff in it that was really good. The performances were good. Ed Skrein was great. Woody Harrelson was great. Aaron Eckhart was great. Patrick Wilson was fantastic. Really good cast. Dennis Quaid was really good as Admiral Woolsey. So there was a lot of really good things about it. And then so they got the effects all right, whereas the 1976 movie, it's got some nice model work and stuff, but there's a lot of cut to pilots in planes with you know, what did they call it inside man back then? The equivalent of green screen. It was back projection.
The back screen and front screen projection. Yeah.
And in some films that looks quite quaint, and you kind of like it. In the midway 70s movie, it does look very antiquated, and there's also a lot of cut to actual naval war footage and stuff, which I don't mind that so much, but it just is that the effects work in that film is very inconsistent. What's good are the performances, and also it tells the overall view of the battle much more effectively. I could follow it more effectively. So one day when I've got time, I think I will sit down and I'll do a supercut between these two movies. And because I plan on doing that with Tora and Pearl Harbor as well, funnily enough, so that you've got the best of the effects work and all the shots, and then I'll include all the characters that aren't in the 76 movie from Midway, and then, you know, I'll include the big actors from the 70s and I'll cut it all together and it'll all flow perfectly, trust me. And I'll put a new grade on it so it all looks kind of consistent, and new titles, and just for fun. That would be a project I'll do at some point. I want to do a Stalingrad movie as well that's got Enemy at the Gates, all 3 Russian Stalingrad films all cut together. That'd be another fun project. But the only way people can see these is to come around my house. I put Bridge Too Far up on YouTube, and it got taken down within like 2 minutes. So frustrating.
I just wanted to mention that for the benefit of the chat, that Lance and I did a watch party for Midway a few years ago on our Room's channel.
Yeah, was that the 70s one, or was it the more recent one?
No, that was the more recent.
The 2019. That was on our channel. Yeah. Funnily enough, I actually got an email off her the other day because I haven't spoken to her in so long. I dropped her a message to see how she was doing. But yeah, it's so I've got several of these sort of super edits that I want to do, where unrestricted by time, I'll make these amazing edits using all the best bits of you know the various.
Yeah, I think to say about the movie myself, but I don't want to dig a rabbit hole about that.
No. Yeah, well, fair enough. So we'll move on to our picks shortly, but I want a quick demonstration of what I'm talking about. Where's that little clip there? So, when I did this for Bridge Too Far, which was great fun. For example, when I have to be careful here because we might this got taken down last time. I mean, taken down while we were live, but like you won't hear any audio on this. But this is from a completely different film. But this is all cut into a Bridge Too Far now to show the Allied air fleet arriving over Holland, and I've put new titles on. So when I'm cutting to different locations, the audience can follow where these locations are. And I cut again, City of Nijmegen, and you can see the American airborne fleet arriving over that city. Then we cut to General Beatrix HQ, which of course is in Bridge Too Far, this sequence, so on and so on. So it's very effective doing that. It's a lot of fun. So I think I'll do something similar. I will do something similar. Okay, all right, enough rabbit holes. Let's get on to our top 5 naval engagement films. All hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
Or it's not about a film all called All Hands on Deck.
Which is what I thought.
Yeah. Periscope. Okay, so top 5. All right, well, I'm going to go first with I mean, which one do I put as number 5? It's a bit of a tough. Okay, well, this is my number 5 pick, and I have a feeling that this may be on both my guests' lists as well. So we'll see. And funnily enough, the word "see" is in the title of this film. I own this on DVD. It's a black and white. I first saw this on the telly, but before I saw it on the telly, I actually read the book because my dad had a copy of the book for this, and that is
Wow.
Cruel Sea.
Yeah.
And it was a big book as well. It's quite a big, meaty book. It was the first big book I really read, and it was quite hard going, and I read it, quite young. But that was the first historical book I ever read. So I first saw this on television. I believe it was a Sunday afternoon. It opens with this very cool sort of monologue with Jack. I don't know if it's Jack Hawkins doing the monologue, but it's I think it is, isn't it? And and it's basically the narrative of an Atlantic convoy, told from the perspective of one of the vessels, and the main character is Jack Hawkins' character that we follow. But you get to meet various other characters as well, and it's got a really sort of, it's very well shot. The model work is amazing. Still, I love the miniature work. Still fantastic. Still top of the line stuff. The score is good. There's not loads of music in it, but when it is there, it's very effective. It's directed by Charles Friend, spelled F-R-E-N-D, not as in you're my best mate, friend. Also stars Donald Sinden, who many people will remember for his famous line, he says in all of his appearances. But yeah, Jack Hawkins, definitely one of my favourite actors of this era. There's a very young Denham Elliott in it. Stanley Baker is also in there, who many people will, of course, remember from Zulu. And also Virginia McKenna, who I think she went on to star in Born Free, if I remember.
Yes, she did. Yeah. And carve her name with pride as well.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good movie. That'd be in your top 5 kind of spy films.
Yeah.
So great film. It's always been quite highly regarded. I've watched it recently, actually. I did a bit of a kind of a naval stint about 2 months ago, and that's when I thought, I must do a top 5 naval films at some point. The music was composed by Alan Rawsthorne, who was quite a big name back in the day. He did about 23 movies, but this is really the one I think for him that was probably the biggest hit for him. West of Zanzibar is a film that I saw of his, and Floods of Fear I feel like I saw, but I'd have to rewatch it to check. I mean it's a good film. It's got a number of harrowing sequences, and I think one of the things I always remember when I first watched this as a kid with my dad was there's a scene where a freighter gets sunk and the back is broken of the ship, and there's a whole load of guys in the water who are clearly going to drown, and I remember saying to my dad, they're going to stop and pick them up, and they don't, of course, and they were under orders not to stop. I think sometimes you'd have a designated rescue vessel in a convoy, but more often than not, once you're in the water, the chances of you getting picked up is pretty slim. And that I always remember that I found that scene as a kid really, really disturbing. The director, Charles Friend, also did Scott of the Antarctic.
Yes.
He did Man in a Suitcase, the TV series, if people remember that. He did a couple of other war movies. He also did 9 episodes of Danger Man with Patrick McGowan. He was a pretty competent director. And he actually started directing stuff during World War II. So he was one of those people that did the propaganda films. In the 40s. Yeah. So that's my pick. Inside Man, to you first. And I'm going to say, I bet this is on your list.
This is also my number 5.
Oh, fantastic! Great.
Yeah, this is also And
I'll give you a couple of minutes to.
But I mean, everything that you said. It's difficult to add too much more to what you've said, to be honest with you. But I think the cast is absolutely brilliant. I mean, Denham Elliott, you know, there's the situation he has at home with his wife, and the unfortunate situation when he's on shore leave and he discovers, you know, what's going on with his wife, and you know, she's actually having an affair. You know, that's quite heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean, Donald Sinden, Stanley Baker, Jack Hawkins, but the standout scene is the depth charge scene. Without excuse me, without any question, it's that terrible, again, moral dilemma. You know, what do you do? You know, he says, you know, but sir, you know, there are men in the sea. But Jack Hawkins says, but we've never been this close to the enemy. And he has to drop the depth charges. It's just a case of having to do that, because if they don't, there are going to be other parts of the convoys that are going to be sacrificed at some point or other, and they just can't do that. So it's something that has to be done for the greater good. But the whole story about the I think it's the Compass Rose, I think is the name of the vessel.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Again, the same as you, I hadn't seen this since I was I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. The first time I saw this was when I was a kid, and that did disturb me a lot. And I thought, oh my God, what a terrible thing to have to go through. But one of the things that we have to remember, that this was, I believe, 1953 at a guess.
53.
Yeah. So what, 8 years after the war, not a great deal of time between the end of the war and this movie being made, and maybe made at a time where there were an awful lot of, you know, very, very heroic types of movies, where people were seeing a lot of the British stiff upper lip, and there are some stiff upper lips in this. But what it did do is it showed the toll that it took on the men, and it took an enormous toll, including on Jack Hawkins' character. I mean, a terrible, terrible toll. The fatigue that they suffer, and I believe that it's probably the first movie that I saw, or the first movie, certainly chronologically, not necessarily that I saw, but the first movie chronologically that really, really tackled that subject of the fatigue of war, and various moral choices that have to be made during wartime.
Yeah.
And it's an exceptional film. I absolutely adore this movie. It's one of those that you cannot speak more highly of. It's just a beautiful movie. It's a beautifully written and acted movie. The performances are exceptional.
Indeed. Well, needless to say, it both comes highly recommended from both Inside Man and myself. Garth, is this on your list?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, where does it come on the list?
You want me to tell you now? Okay, it's much higher than 5.
Okay. Actually, well, you don't have to tell me. Right. Just say it's on your list. That's fine. But yeah, if you want to add anything about it, please mention it now.
Yeah, I do. What Inside Man said just now about the exhaustion is what I would call attention to the movie. This is a very unglamorous movie.
Yeah, you feel quite cold when you're watching it. I remember that.
Yeah. I saw this movie when I was a kid. In fact, when I first saw the movie, the house guest that we had at the time was actually a World War II vet. He was a Marine in the Pacific. He lost both his legs fighting the Japanese.
Garth, I think I can hear your mum on the phone.
Unfortunately, yeah. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing like live YouTube.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's. Why don't we pause your thoughts there, and you can come back to it. You can mention a bit more when we come back to it in the Q&A. You mute yourself in the meantime.
Okay.
All right. Because I don't want to hear your mum's. I don't want to hear your mum's telephone call. Right. Okay. But yeah. Okay. So needless to say, all three of us picked this film, and you know, that's for a reason, and that's because it's bloody good.
It's bloody good.
Yeah. I mean, it currently on IMDb is 7.4 out of 10. I can't believe I haven't rated it, so I'll just give it a quick 10 there, because it's definitely a 10 from me. As will most of, I think, my choices. They'll all either be 9s or 10s. It's great. It's not one I've rewatched like loads of times, because it's one of those films you've got to be in the mood.
Yes, yeah. It's quite unflinching.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Very unflinching.
Mm.
And I think the whole movie for this, and I love the way the titles go up and down, like you're on the deck of the boat, you know.
Yeah.
I think the whole movie for this is available to watch for free on YouTube.
Oh,
so,
great.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So you don't have to have the DVD to watch it. All right, so that's our number 5 pick, which has scored 2 points so far, plus whatever Darth's got. Anyone in the chat who wants to participate in the top 5, put your number 5 choices in chat now. Make sure you precede the choice with the number 5, just so we can keep tabs on that if we need to go back and check. And once we go on to number 4, that section is shut. So, all right. Okay, so we'll go on to our number 4 pick. Inside Man, I'll let you go first this time. What's your number 4?
I'm going to go with very similar kind of theme in which we serve.
Okay.
One of David Lean's early movies, written and co-directed by Noel Coward. Again, something. This was, I believe, I'm kind of a little bit fuzzy with my memory on this one, but I do believe that I did see this one after the other. And this, bearing in mind, this was actually made in 1942, so this was
during the war.
Yeah, in effect, a propaganda movie, and it again, a very unflinching movie. You know, this is another movie that does show the home life, you know, as well as you know, everything at sea, but. You have to forgive the Noel Coward character somewhat, because obviously, you know, he was a personality of the day, and because it was a propaganda movie, for all intents and purposes, you know, you can't shy away from the fact that this was something that had to be shown to the British public at the time of what is going on. You know, this is something that is actually going on, and it was pretty damn gritty for the time.
Didn't Ronald Neame, they just said, is the DOP? Didn't he also shoot A Night to Remember? Wasn't he the DOP on that?
I don't know actually, mate.
I'll check.
You could well be right.
Yeah.
But there is one very, very interesting fact about this movie, and that is right up until, I believe, the 80s, the mid-80s, Richard Attenborough's character was never credited in this movie. And when it was reissued, what they did was they actually redid the credit sequence in order to add Richard Attenborough's credit.
Yeah, because he basically plays like a young sort of crewman, doesn't he? Like
yes, he does. Yeah.
Young Stoker, originally uncredited. That's right.
I think that this was possibly an Ealing movie, but I could be completely wrong. It was an Ealing movie.
Yeah, British Line Films.
British Line,
which was part of that whole Ealing Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a good choice. I feel this trailer that's playing now is not In Which We Serve. This is something else. So we'll pause that. Sorry, anything else you want to add about it?
Again, it's a movie that I have a great deal of affection for. I was never really into naval movies per se. But I think because I'm into naval movies if they're black and white for some unknown reason. I have no idea why. Because these two movies, In Which We Serve and The Cruel Sea, both incorporated very, very well, I thought, some actual footage. It really added to the realism of the movie, the gravitas of the movie. I think they're both exceptional movies, and they're great as a double bill.
Oh, there he is, young Richard Attenborough.
Look at that young lad.
Hard to think that's the crazy scientist from Jurassic Park, and he also was director of Bridge Too Far.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, and this was. I must correct myself because it wasn't Ealing Studios. This was shot at Denham. Yeah,
right.
And wouldn't Denham Film Studios would eventually just turn into Pinewood Studios, wouldn't it?
Denham is now, unfortunately, the last movie that was used at that Denham was used for, I believe, was Full Metal Jacket. That was the editing. The editing department was used. I think that was the last time it was actually used as an operating studio, and now it's actually a housing estate. However, all of the buildings of the studio, I believe it's called the Denham Estate. There is the actual studio building itself still exists.
Right.
So, and there's a Stanley Kubrick, like a Stanley Kubrick Drive, and David Lean Way, and all that kind of stuff. So, so they've maintained the architecture, which is good because it's a really beautiful Art Deco architecture.
Yeah. Apparently, they retained the cinema. They restored the cinema for residents. So the residents of that estate have got their own cinema.
How fantastic is that?
Yeah.
How fantastic is that? Lovely. That's lovely. I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah.
But there's some fascinating footage of the old Denham Studios somewhere on YouTube on a very, very old documentary that I watched years ago. Where somebody's walking around Denham Studios, and all this kind of and over here, this is where we shoot all of the water stuff, and
Chumley Warner,
But
yeah, I mean, this is a great film. I do remember watching it. I haven't seen this in a long time, and I bet this is on YouTube as well.
I bet it is. Yeah.
So that'd be interesting to watch it again because I haven't seen it in quite a while. Darth, this is not on my list. Darth, is this on your list? Oh, I might have to unmute you. Hold on.
I don't remember this movie.
Well, it's because you're not British, you see.
If I watched it on YouTube, I might remember it. Like, oh yeah, I've seen this, but off the top of my head, I don't remember this movie.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who, I think, originally wrote the script, he served on board HMS Kelly, which was sunk during the Battle of Crete, and she was basically a K-class destroyer.
Yeah.
And the captain of that character inspired the captain of this. So yeah, she was torpedoed as well. The Kelly was torpedoed by a German E-boat during the Battle of Norway, but managed to get back to the Tyne River to get re-equipped and sent off to the Mediterranean. only to get sunk and bombed in Crete. But she's accounted for shooting down 3 Stukas.
Wow.
So there you go.
Was it early Mediterranean or later Mediterranean?
Early Mediterranean.
Yeah, 1941, Battle of Crete, 1941, April.
Okay. Yeah,
May.
So that's right about the time of the Battle of Taranto, where the British launched the air attack there.
Yes.
Yeah, against the Italian Navy. Yeah.
Not to get into a rabbit hole, but that battle actually inspired Yamamoto to do Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. You and I had that conversation before. I remember that. Yeah, Heartbreak Ridge 42 has confirmed this film is available on.
Yeah,
YouTube.
I will watch that movie.
Yeah,
it's a great film.
Yeah.
I can't. Unfortunately, I can't contribute anything because I haven't seen it yet.
No, that's all right. Well, that's fine because I don't want to go too late, so it's all good. All right, excellent. So, in which we serve is your number 4 pick, and that scores 2 points.
So, am I doing 5 and 4
on our list? So, yeah, your number 5 pick. What is it, Donal?
Yeah. My 5 pick was actually Final Countdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so the reason why that is because, like I said, I like talking about this stuff, and that was the kind of movie where I just talked a mile a minute to whoever would listen.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things, Pearl Harbor, the Battle of Denmark Strait, is that sort of thing. I ate that stuff up like candy, and if my weight reflected how much history I've eaten, I'd probably look like Jabba the Hutt.
Okay.
So
you've only eaten half a portion of history.
Yeah. So like I said, it's not a history stream. I appreciate that, so I'll just leave it alone at that. But the time travel element it's a little weird, but I liked it when I was a kid. At this point in my life, it's not really what immediately comes to mind as a great naval movie, but it is something that really got me interested in the material. So that's why it's on.
Yeah.
It was going to be on my honorable mention, but because of how you structured the what we can and can't do on the stream, I bumped it up to number 5.
Okay. Well, I have said that Final Countdown can be included because the majority of the narrative of the film takes place on board a ship.
I understand. Okay, so number 4.
It's a good film. It also got me into history as well. It's an interesting alternative poster for it here. There you go. Countdown Dimension Zero.
Yes.
So that's probably for overseas.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's.
I could say the same thing about Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. It was an excuse to talk about the event, but I would never in a million years put that in the top 5 of anything.
No.
Well, indeed.
No.
The scenes with the zeros and stuff in this are very effective, and they did film on board the real Nimitz as well.
They did, yes, they did.
For the movie, and there's Sunteko who plays the baddie in it. If you like, Catherine Ross is super hot in this film.
Yeah.
So no, it's good. I like the ending of the movie as well with that, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I love the way the dog suddenly comes running out the car.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool because, but I'm not sure how the dog lived that long. But all right, or is it the dog doesn't come running out the car. The dog goes running to the car.
That's to the car, yeah.
Because the dog comes back with the shit. That's right. Yeah, Charles Durning in this as well. I always like him as an actor. I think we lost him not that long ago, actually, and I always wanted him to play the governor of Kent in my Kent State movie. Always wanted Charles Durning to play that role, and he would have been perfect for that role. But yeah. Good pick. So I'll do my number 4, and then Darth, you can do yours. So it's tough. tough shout here. Which one do I put in the number 4 spot? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a fairly recent film. Certainly compared to some. It's one of the better films that sort of covers. It gives you the scene that you want. If you're watching a naval film set in the Napoleonic era, cannons and all that, and you want a great Napoleonic battle. You want to see that scene. Fortunately, in this movie, we get 2 of them. So that is Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. This is based on a book, of course. And there was talk about doing sequels to this movie. The film wasn't a massive financial success when it came out. I mean, it's a shame, really, because I saw it opening night in, I think it was the Odeon, Leicester Square. It was one of the Leicester Square cinemas. And we really enjoyed it, me and my then partner. We really enjoyed the film. Thought the film was very well acted, written. It's believable in the sense that it feels believable and technically correct. I like the fact that a lot of the officers on board the ship were sort of, young lads that were barely teenagers, and that was true of the time, that if you were a young lad, but you were from a upper class family and you went into the Navy, you could find yourself, commanding men at the age of 16. How that all worked out for you on board a ship that was away for several months at a time, don't know. But I like that. I thought the young actors in it were very good as well. You got the one who loses his arm, stuff like that. Now there's some great humour in this film as well. The whole thing about the 2 asking the doctor about which one of the Weevils is going to win the race, and then Russell Crowe's got that line, "It's always better to bet on the lesser of the 2 Weevils." Always like that, and it's just a good movie. So I really enjoyed it, and I think after I saw this, I remember thinking, God, surely now it's just a matter of time before we get, the Battle of Trafalgar, either mini-series or movie. I think it would be better served by a mini-series, maybe like 6 1 hours or something. Because I thought, we've never had that, and surely that's got to be made at some point. But because this film wasn't financially successful, that kind of torpedoed any chance of that happening. So I think we will see it one day. But that's my number 4.
You have to excuse the pun, Lance's pun there. It was torpedoed.
It was torpedoed.
A very good unintentional pun there.
That's my number 4 pick. Is it anyone else's list?
It is, actually.
Yes, it is.
I thought all of yours were black and white. Okay, so that scores 2 points from me. Who else has got it?
I have it. Yep.
Has anybody else got it as their number 4 pick?
I do.
No. Oh, you're number 4.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Darth, you can have a few minutes to talk about it now. Go for it.
Hear no evil, know no evil. The nice thing about the surprise is I was surprised to see that there was a Hobbit there.
Oh, in the cast. Yeah, he's not given very much to do, is he? But he's in the film.
I know. Look, the thing about the Napoleonic era, look, there's all kinds of naval battles in World War II. The reason why you don't see a lot of naval battles during the Napoleonic era was because of the overwhelming superiority of the Royal Navy. It's hard to make a movie from that era. Really, you really have to do a small ship action. Now, it can be done. You could take some story and historical stories and do a movie about them. I know there was this one Royal Navy captain who was really clever, and he did stuff, and things didn't always go away. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the reason, well, that's my number 4 pick. and I love the Napoleonic era. It was nice to see this movie from that time period. So that's really probably one of the primary reasons why it's on my list. I can't honestly say that is one of the best movies of all time, but it certainly stuck in my mind because of how they choreographed the action. How they choreographed the action at first wasn't really that believable to me, to be perfectly honest. But later on in the movie, not to spoil it, but later on in the movie where you get to the climax of the action, and the ship is called the HMS Surprise for a reason. So I won't say anything more than that. So if anyone in the sound of my voice, if you have not seen this movie, watch this movie.
Yeah.
No, it's a great film.
It is. I think the unfortunate thing is that this came out at the same time as Lord of the Rings, and that was the unfortunate thing. I think if it was
2003,
I think if it was timed slightly differently, but of course, we have these schedules that are created for the release of movies, but
it came out the same year as Return of the King.
Yeah. So this is bearing in mind that this was nominated for 10 Oscars, right?
Really?
And it was nominated for 10. It won, and it was up against Return of the King for cinematography, and it won. It was up against Return of the King for sound design, and it won. And a movie that's nominated for 10 Oscars is going to be a good movie. This I think is perhaps the most cinematic movie that there is, about, not necessarily just about the Napoleonic Wars, but about any period sort of prior to World War One. It's quite exceptional in the fact that I think it's Patrick O'Brien. I think the novels were written by, who was quite a prolific author of Napoleonic naval movies. But the language was correct. The actions were correct. I would even go as far as to say it's probably the most realistic period naval movie that you're ever likely to see, because it's again unpleasant. It's not a pleasant, clean environment. It's a nasty, horrible environment in which they live, and this is why this is definitely, it had to be on my list, but it's considerably higher than the number 4.
Sure.
Okay, great stuff. If you haven't seen it, well worth watching. And there's a lot of interesting production stories about it to be found. So do check those out. I've also met a couple of the cast of this film. I've met Lee Ingleby, who played Midshipman Holland, and I've met Brian Dick as well, who's one of the crew members. Good film. All right, let's move on. So that was your number 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is that all the number 4's done? I think that is.
Yeah. This is much higher for me.
Yeah, just mention it when it comes. Yeah. Mention when it comes back up, and
we'll do.
Okay. It's currently in the lead with 4 points.
Yeah, I will not pick a fight about that.
All right. So we're going to go to our number 3 choices. Inside Man. Let's have yours first.
Tora.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that, because a big part of the narrative, especially if you watch the original cut, or the one that was released in Japan does include a lot of narrative on board the Japanese ships.
Yeah.
Whereas most of those scenes were cut from the American release.
What a travesty!
Yeah.
What an absolute travesty! And bearing in mind that this was originally going to be directed by Akira Kurosawa.
That's right.
But I think
why wasn't it?
I beg your pardon?
Why wasn't it?
I think that Hollywood probably considered him to be maybe an unknown quantity, really. Although I think he was considered to be more of an artistic, sort of an art film director than somebody who could really handle something of this scale. But he could have handled something of this scale. Nonetheless, I think it's an exceptional movie.
There were two Japanese directors, though, which was Toshio Masuda and Kaji Fusaka. I think if I'm pronouncing that.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that the reason that he might have got bumped was because he was Japanese. A Japanese director.
No. It was always a Japanese and American co-production.
Okay.
And the Japanese directed the Japanese sequences, and Richard Fleischer directed the American sequences. The film was super long.
Okay.
So the American version of it had minimal Japanese scenes in. It still had some of them in, but there was when you watch, I've got the Blu-ray that's got all the extra bits, and that's got the full version of the film, and it's got all
okay. I didn't realize there was a full version. I have to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite naval movies. I didn't put it on my list because I didn't think we were allowed to. I didn't think it qualified.
Well, you need to see that version of it. Sorry, Inside Man. Do continue.
Yeah, I think there's something very, very definitive about the storytelling in this movie. Something which is very unfortunate that we don't get these days. We have to get straight into the action. We don't need, or it's deemed that we don't need backstories, that we don't need context. But this is a movie that gives everything in context, so we know precisely what's going on here. I can't think of a movie that gives us this level of context. In terms of leading towards a single event. I mean, I've no idea who the cinematographer or cinematographers on this were, but wow, did they do a job? I just again, a movie I saw as a kid, and it completely leveled me. I can't speak highly enough about this movie.
Yeah, this film is in my Silver Screen Journeys book, and I was able to work out, because you can check down, you can find online transmission dates for movies when they were first on British TV and all the rest of it. Yeah. So I was able to work out when this was, and I think it was on the same Christmas as Where Eagles Dare. The first time that was shown or something. Like that. Or Kelly's Heroes, I forget which one it was, but I know this was one of them was on one day and this was on the other day. Yeah. And so I'd watched a war film where the good guys were kicking ass and all the bad guys were getting killed, and then I watched this, and I mean, I knew that we were at war with Germany and Japan in World War II, but I didn't know much about the Japanese side of things, and this was the first film that I saw that covered that narrative. And I had no idea what happened at Pearl Harbor. So imagine going in and watching this movie with none of that knowledge about what happened. You had no idea what had happened at Pearl Harbor. And you see this. This is it's got a real documentary feeling, but it's never boring, the movie. No. Very, very gripping film, and extremely well done. I love the bit where the bullet, I think it's is it the Arizona that explodes?
Yes.
They get the bomb that goes in the munitions thing. So the Arizona explodes, and you've got that admiral who didn't take the warnings, seriously looking through the window, and a piece of shrapnel smashes on the window, and it embeds itself in the window pane. It doesn't go through.
Yeah.
And he says it would have been great if it had killed me.
Yeah, that was Admiral Kimmel. Yeah,
Admiral Kimmel. That's right. You know, it would have been merciful if that had killed me. It's like I deserve that, because he knows he was partly responsible. There's also a couple of great things that happen in. Well, I say great. The B-17 crashing, that footage, that actually happened during filming. That B-17 lost part of its undercarriage when it came into land for filming. That wasn't intentional. Shit. And of course, they included it in the film. Another thing that wasn't intentional is when there's a fuel tank that explodes on the runway, and one of the prop planes blows up, and you can see that there's a propeller chasing the stuntman, and he's really like running from it. That's all accidental.
Wow.
There was like a number of like near misses with a lot of when they were blowing things up, that nearly took out stuntmen. There's also some great stills online. I don't know if there's any here, that's why I'm scrolling through them, of the full-size models in the tank that were made, because they're so that Battleship Rowe model setup is so beautiful. And it was all built in this massive tank. And those models of the battleships, they're like 8 feet long. They're huge things. And you've got these men in fishermen's waders, like sort of setting them up with the explosive charges on and things. And then you combine that footage with, you know, because if I did my super edit of Tora with the new Pearl Harbor movies and various other movies and things, I wouldn't cut any of that model footage out. I'd still keep it all in, which might jar a little. But it's so well done, with a great combo of big practical effects with miniature work, and you know, they don't make them like this anymore. You know,
no, they don't.
Yeah,
so, they really don't. Yeah. And the color's outstanding.
Yeah, it's not a black and white movie, even though we've had a lot of color stills come up. It's a color. In 1970, this came out. That's the Blu-ray that I've got. You see, it says extended Japanese cut in the top left corner. So there you go. So you want to get on that. Yeah. So that was your number 3 choice.
It was, yes. Yeah.
It's a good pick. I mean, I could have had that on my top 5 list, but I've had it on a top list before, so I decided not to pick it on this occasion, because I went for stuff that was more kind of ship based. But I will allow that, because it has got a lot of ship things and so on. Heartbreak Ridge has got to dash off to work. Carry on, lads. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for coming on. And you know, come back and watch the rest of it. 1977, Yaku says, I've been to the Arizona Memorial back in 96 when my ship stopped there for a port visit. Oh, it's great. We got a naval man.
Wow.
In our chat. Love it. Welcome. Thank you for your service.
Yes, the majority of the casualties were from the Arizona.
That's right, yeah. And there's a lot of names on that mural. Yeah, because they've left the ship exactly where it is. It's covered over by that kind of white canopy thing, and you can go in and you can look down and you can see it in the water. And I mean, it's you know, it's somewhere I've always wanted to visit. Whether I'll get there or not, who knows? Okay,
you know what, Lance? If you want to know the run up to all that and why that happened, I'm your guy. But we can't get into it here, because that's not a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit bottomless pit.
Oh, you're talking about why Pearl Harbor happened?
That's right.
Oh, mate, I'm pretty up to speed on all that. I'm reading this gargantuan
book. Are you sure?
About the war about the Japanese war. Yeah, all the stuff that went on in Japan with the back and forth between the Navy and the Army and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of politics, internal politics in Japan. The Navy didn't even want to do it, did they? But anyway, that's the rabbit hole for another time. Okay, my number 3 pick is this one. Damn the Defiant, also released as the HMS Defiant. This is another Napoleonic naval film. have to say that I like this one a little bit more than Master and Commander of the World. I think predominantly because of the dynamics between Alec Guinness and Dirk Bogarde in it. It's got a bit of a Mutiny on the Bounty kind of vibe.
Yeah.
By the way, this film, these are colour stills, but if memory serves me, I think this film's black and white. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
I recall it as black and white. Yeah.
And again, there's quite a few. If you look at the young faces of the cast, you've got a couple of faces who later appear in Carry On movies. One of these films has got a young George Cole in, but I'm not sure if it's this one. But Dirk Bogarde, great in this. Alec Guinness is great as the commander. It's another film which has got some really fantastic model work, and it's great. It's got naval engagements, and it's got, you know, rappel borders and all of that stuff. And I caught this one Sunday afternoon as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. And it was one of those films that didn't get shown very often. And then as soon as I found it on DVD, I was having it straight away. And so it's either HMS Defiant or Damn the Defiant, depending on where it was released. So that's my number 3 pick, and that also scores 3 points. Did anybody else pick it?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought you might have done. Where is it on your list? Oh, well, no, don't tell me.
Okay.
We'll find out shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. Really, really good. Really, really good one. And again, it's probably a film. It's a film that doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves. I mean, when Master and Commander came out, you would have thought a few reviewers would have referred back to this one.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
I just think a lot of people haven't seen it, you know, sadly. But yeah, set during the French Revolution. What's interesting about this movie as well, and you would see this in his career, is this is directed by none other than Lewis Gilbert, who also directed The Spy Who Loved Me. And you can see from this film, when you watch it, you know, the man knows how to shoot action sequences.
Yeah.
Other people that were in the cast was also Nigel Stock, Peter Gill, who would later become a playwright, who I've actually met, also in there. Ray Brooks, the voice of Mr. Ben, who we lost. Yeah, we lost him just a couple of weeks ago, I think. He's also in the movie. Catch him in the Dalek Invasion of Earth as well. You've also got Johnny Briggs, who would go on to be in Carry On. Anthony Quayle is in this, another one of my favourite British actors. Nigel Stock, who was in Young Sherlock Holmes. So there's a number of you know, old British faces, as well as character actors of the time, people like Brian Pringle and Victor Madden and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a great movie. Can't praise it highly enough. But it's really the chemistry between and the tension between Alec Guinness's very stuffy regimented commander and Dirk Bogarde's sort of slightly more liberal lieutenant that makes it work.
By liberal, you mean a Jacobin?
Well, he's a bit more human. He's got a bit more humanity.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Anyway, great film. Inside Man, you've also got it coming up. So, yeah.
Yes, I do. I didn't think that anybody would have this on their list. To be honest, yeah. I really, I thought no one. There's no way that anyone is going to have this on their list.
You underestimate me.
I underestimate, yeah. but of course, I think one of the comparisons that you made was absolutely spot on, which was there is a little bit of a feel of Captain Bligh and Fletcher Christian about this.
Yeah, very similar.
And that conflict between the two officers is what really drives the story more than anything. Everything else, I think, is really quite supplemental. Yeah. But it's the relationship that is the thing that drives this movie. And it's all if anybody watching hasn't seen this movie, you absolutely have to watch this movie. This is, if you like Master and Commander, or if you like any naval movies, if you like any of the actors, for goodness sake, watch this movie. It's I mean, I would go as far as to say, and I'm kind of sticking my neck out a little bit here, but in the company that I'm in, I would go as far as to say that this is actually Lewis Gilbert's best movie.
I mean, it's definitely one of his best.
I know that you would disagree.
That's Tom Bell on screen now, who would later
Goodness me, yeah.
He'd go on to appear in Prime Suspect with Helen Mirren, and he'd be the adversarial detective who had the drinking problem, and sadly no longer with us. But
and of course he played Jack the Hat in the Craze, and if you remember, he had his own series, didn't he? Do you remember Out? It was called.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
That was late 70s, early 80s, which was a very, very good series. I might try and track that one down, actually.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that might be on YouTube. There's some of the model work, which again in this film is very, very good.
Do you know what? I mean, when you think about what Lewis Gilbert has filmed in terms of the model work that he's shot over the years, it's phenomenal. And you're right. I think he's one of the great underrated action directors.
I agree.
You know, I think he's never somebody who is ever cited as being a great action director. You know, I mean, we have the likes of Don Siegel and such like, who's always cited as being the great action director, and Sam Peckinpah. But I think Lewis Gilbert is one of the greatest action directors that ever was. I genuinely do believe that.
Yeah, I mean, he also did You Only Live Twice, which again, you know, for big battle scenes, ninjas abseiling down the volcano, which was the biggest number of people abseiling in a movie at that time. I don't think that record's been beaten, actually, but I might be wrong about that.
I think you're correct. I think you're right.
Yeah, and it is a good film. Number of great action sequences. I wonder if this kid, David Robinson, is still around, who's in the shot here. Because he'd be a great person to interview if indeed he's still alive. He would have been 12 or something like that, probably. When he shot this. I'll have a quick Google. Funnily enough, there's nothing on him on Wikipedia, so this might be the only thing he ever did. Let's have a quick look. David Robinson. Oh, look at that! He died at 23.
Holy shit!
In 1971. That's to be like a car accident or something like that, probably.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Look at that road accident. I was right.
Oh, that's terrible.
Terrible. He probably went out and bought himself a nice car off the back of one of his jobs, and God, yeah. Oh well, I guess he would have been the only one of the cast that might have been alive.
Yeah.
But damn, that's very sad. It's very sad. Mind you, probably would have been in his 90s now if he'd lived. But so Damn the Defiant. Okay, good. Well, that's another one that's going to score some points. Currently at 3 points. So that was that was my number 3 pick. Inside Man, did you do your number 3?
Yes, I did my number 3 first, which was Tora.
Right, so Darth, your number 3, please.
I just wanted to say that I'm embarrassed to say that I have not seen this movie.
That's fine.
I will rectify that.
Yeah, but that's the point of the stream, isn't it? So recommend films.
Yeah, I want to ask, what year did this take place?
Yeah. I can tell you. I was just looking at the blurb about it. It is set during. It's 1797.
Right.
During the French Revolutionary Wars.
Okay, so I'm guessing was it against the Spanish?
I think it's hang on, French escort ship. Yeah. So they're against the French. Then a Venetian frigate. So I'm guessing a Venetian frigate would be Spanish.
Spain declared war after the Second Treaty of Basel. That's 1796. That's about right.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
There was also some activity for France was trying to send some ships to Ireland. A lot of people don't know about this, but they wanted to train Irish troops in France and then ship them back to Ireland and then rally the Irish people and then cross-channel invasion to England. And that never got off the ground.
The plot's loosely inspired by something called the Spithead Mutiny in 17.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But
there was also
we won't go down that rabbit hole now.
Yeah, there was also the Quiberon landing of 1795.
What's your number 3 pick?
My number three, and I'm gonna guess no one else has this on this. I'm curious if anyone in the chat has this on the list. 1956, The Pursuit of the Graf Spee.
Oh.
Yeah, that's depending on which country you're in. That's also called the Battle of the River Plate.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's right. So in Britain, it would be the Battle of the River Plate.
Yeah, it's a great film. I own the DVD. Fantastic movie.
That's my number 3. The reason why it's my number 3.
I should have put it on my honourable mentions, and this was probably the first naval combat film I ever saw. This was the film that got me interested in. Okay, I want to watch other naval movies now. Darth, jump in, talk us through your choice.
I'm not sure, but I think they may have been they were real ships, so they weren't mock-ups.
There was I think there was a bit of model work in this film, but for the most part, real ships were used for a lot of the shots. Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people don't know this. This is actually a really interesting story. The Graf Spee was what was called a pocket.
Pocket battleship. Yeah.
No. The pocket battleship was named after.
It is a pocket battleship. The Graf Spee was a pocket battleship. I can promise you.
Yeah. Because he was a World War I guy, Graf Spee. That's a story unto itself. But the pocket battleship Graf Spee.
Focus on the film. You only got 5 minutes.
Okay. The reason I like this movie is because I think it's the most, in terms of the depiction of the action, it might be the most accurate battle I've ever seen depicted in a naval movie.
Right.
And then, well, that's all I got.
Is that that's the only thing that you like about the film?
It was just something that I saw that really, because of the drawn out action. And because it wasn't like just two fleets closing and just blam blam blam. It was like a cat and mouse thing. And there was the diplomacy of the Graf Spee going into the port in South America.
Yeah.
And they had and say, hey, we don't want trouble with the Allies. You got to leave.
Yeah.
And so there's that whole dimension to it too. There's a whole dimension to it as well. And so I think this is a very underrated story. It's not just an action movie.
It's a great.
It's like Apocalypto, except it's up on water.
Yeah.
Well, there is model work in it because that's a model shot. I can tell you. Sorry, Inside Man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I
was going to say it's kind of very much a chess game, isn't it? It's a diplomatic chess game. This movie.
Yeah.
And it's so intriguing, and the great thing about this movie in particular, and I wish that I'd actually mentioned it in my honorable mentions, it is that when I first saw this movie, I wanted to know more about it. I wasn't sure whether it was a true story or whether it was fictitious, because I saw it at a time where I was watching a lot of men on a mission kind of movies, and I thought, this can't be real. But it's the kind of movie that makes you want to research it an awful lot more, which is the beauty of historical movies. Particularly these World War II, World War I, and Peninsular War movies, it does make you want to delve into them an awful lot more. This was the one that really wanted me, or sort of prompted me, to really start to research a little bit more about it. And it's the real story, although it obviously the whole thing is very much a condensed story. The real story is infinitely more intriguing and adventurous than the movie that we have. That said, it's a terrific movie. It really is a terrifically tense movie. Yeah, I completely forgot about this.
Yeah, so what Internet Man was saying there is truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's a certain irony to it too, because Grafspee, the ship was named after a German admiral named Grafspee. He underwent a similar voyage in the First World War that took him all the way down to the Falklands.
Wow, no, I did not know that.
So you might, that's the story you might want to read up on. Read up on, but should look at a summary of what happened to Grafspee himself. It's similar how the acting kind of unfolded, but the diplomatic aspect of it is something that really sets it apart for me.
Interesting.
I'm a diplomatic history guy.
Yeah.
I like I like the narrative of there's a wardroom with a load of sailors that are prisoners.
Altering course towards
Clip.
us,
Here we go.
Suits us. Getting all of that on exit now, sir. What? The devil's
Don't get flagged.
main target now, sir. 3 feet on the fence, sir. Rotate party forward. Who's that running forward? There on the post. Looks like more.
Ooh.
Ask the word to all parts of the ship that we're hitting the enemy as hard as they're hitting us. Listen. Toilet. Right on exit, sir. Looks like forward turret wall.
I hope you don't get flagged for this.
The whole film is free on YouTube.
Okay.
Ah, wow.
So, and the guy who said there's a hit on Exeter, that is the actor Jack Watson from the Wild Geese.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But it's a great film, and actually, I remember one of the things I really liked about this. I think after this ship takes the hit on the bridge, they set up a communication system with like 5 guys from the bridge, the damaged bridge, down to the engine room, because they've got no internal communications. So it's like one person shouts out, "Port 20, port 20, port 20, port 20." Like, that scene's great, and apparently they really did that. So I thought all of that stuff was, really nice, really nicely done in the film. Great choice, Don. Great choice.
Great choice.
Number 3.
Good movie. There's a few notable cast members in the film as well. You've got Anthony Quayle in there again. It's directed by Michael Pow, distributed by Rank. There's only one version of the film as far as I'm aware. Bernard Lee, who of course will go on to play M in the Bond movies, he pops up in there. Patrick McNee from the Avengers is also in there. John LeMessurier from Dad's Army. Barry Foster, also from the Wild Geese, is in there. It's funny because the cast listed ashore, one of the actors is called Lionel Merton, and I did a double take when I read it just now because I thought that said Lionel Morton, as in my birth father. So that would have been bonkers if I discovered he had a little acting role in this film. There's another interesting note is that director John Schlesinger has a small part in the film as a German naval officer escorting a dove at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
How interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, and he'd go on to direct the Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman, which would win Hoffman an Oscar, I think. And he did Midnight Cowboy and a whole lot of other movies, and the less popular Honky Tonk Freeway. But that's a topic for another time.
Or not.
Or not, indeed. But yeah, Battle of the River Plate or the Pursuit of the Grass Bay, whichever, is on YouTube. I will drop the link for the movie in the chat now so people can see it. In fact, a lot of the films we have mentioned are on YouTube, except for Tora. So yeah, have a look. But there's the link. I've just put it in. So
great.
Oh, Blibbity Blop. Yeah, Blibbity Blop's doing a stream with me in the not too distant future about films which include German wonder weapons. So,
interesting.
Yeah, that's another one we're going to do.
Wow.
I think you were on we did a Battle of Britain stream. Weren't you on that Inside Man with him? I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah. That was a great stream.
We haven't set a date for it yet, but I'll let you know when it's going to be.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
You're doing what? The German wonder weapons?
Films that include German wonder weapons as a main plot thread.
You like the V1, V2, etc.
Yeah. You could also include their jet fighters.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that.
So okay. So we'll move on.
Number 2.
But yeah, that's a Battle of the River Plate. Also scores 3 points, and it's our number 2 pick. Okay.
I shouldn't have did that gesture.
I'm going to go first. This will be a film that's not on anyone's lists, I suspect. It's also going to be a film that most people haven't seen. It was on YouTube fairly recently. Whether it's still there or not, I don't know. But that was how I actually got to see it. What was interesting about the film was that it was basically, I saw a poster for it at the Cannes Film Festival in 2015, and the film hadn't completed shooting because they had to crowdfund this movie to finish it, and it got finished shortly after that. And it's called The Northern Limit Line. It's from South Korea. I'm going to play the trailer for it, so let's have a look at it.
너희들이 허비한 그 1초가 전우를 죽음에 이르게 한다는 사실을 잊지 말기 바란다.
정장님 같은 경우에는 이런 바른 생활 사나이 이런 모습이 있었어요.
야, 더 빨리 와, 이 새끼야. 가난하면서 이런 거 구경도 못하지.
새벽 12시 나와서 같이 라면 먹고 뭐 이러던 기억이 납니다.
네.
몸 괜찮냐?
동혁이가 친구처럼 정말 많이 챙겨줬던 것 같아요. 여느 때처럼 전투 배치를 하고 있는데 그날따라 좀 이상한 느낌이 있었어요.
자연배치! 좀 이상한 것 같습니다. 이사미 편들! 무슨 일인가? 전투 발생! 각동으로부터 긴급 지원 바라! 긴급 지원! 양현 앞으로 전속 기호를 펼쳤다!
So what's really interesting about this movie, apart from it's based on a true story, it was made with the full cooperation of the families of the men who died, is that when the funding fell apart, they'd started filming. I think they'd shot most of the principal photography, which was predominantly all done on board a full replica of the boat, which was built inside a studio, which was surrounded by green screen. I've done a whole stream about this movie. There's a Chew the Fat just about this film on my channel. Do go and check it out. And, you know, being a filmmaker myself, I love the fact that this is not only about a really interesting event where basically the crew of the ship were ambushed by North Koreans who were always aggressively patrolling what's known as the Northern Limit Line, and the two sides are always pushing each other. You know, it's a very tense situation. And this is known as the Battle of Yeonpong. And basically it took place on the 29th of June 2002. This vessel, by the way, still exists. It's in a museum in South Korea. You can see it's still got all the bullet holes and everything. And it was a really quite ferocious close quarters engagement, one of the few that's ever taken place, which is what makes the film so interesting, between two modern Navy gunboats. So these are really small, very fast ships that have got a couple of 6-inch guns, and they've got you know, rotating small arms cannons, as seen in the movie Predator, things like that on board. And these are designed to, you know, aggressively patrol the border basically at sea, to make sure that North Korea is not up to any shenanigans. And it's quite a powerful film. I'll tell you, I can't watch it without crying at the end, because the ending of this film is proper gut-wrenching, because it cuts to all the footage of the real funerals and footage with the real families, and you can't help but, like, you know, even though it's a foreign story that took place very far from here in a conflict that, you know, is still going on and feels very remote, the actual action took place during the World Cup. So, you know, they were all kind of like rooting for South Korea in the World Cup. And it was totally unnecessary. There was no reason for the North, apart from pure bravado, to attack this ship. It was totally unprovoked. And the men are very heroic. You know, this is a true story of real heroism and sacrifice, and it's really moving. And a number of the crew, of course, have, you know, young children or pregnant wives and things at home. The CG in it is really first class. You know, not every shot's perfect, but so what happened was the South Korean football team, and I love this story as well. When the funding for the film floundered, they all got together and they raised the rest of the money. And I can't see a load of British footballers doing that. No. You know, and I just love that story. And the director, Kim Hak-soon, I've written to him several times and he has responded. You know, the first time I wrote to him, I wasn't doing YouTube and this kind of stuff. But I had a very nice conversation with him, you know, from one director to another. I said, I really love your movie. And I also love the story behind how you didn't give up. You know, you kept going to make sure this film got made and that these people's stories were told. And that's why, you know, one of the reasons why I think it's such an important film. It's great. It's a great movie. And I've tried to get him to come on the channel. I don't think his English is particularly great, but it's £6 million budget. So, you know, it's a small budgeted film. Yeah. And it made 38 million at the box office. It was #1 in Korea for absolutely ages, because everybody in Korea knows about this battle. It topped the box office on its opening day. And by 4 days had a record of 1.43 million admissions, which in Korea alone is incredible. You know, it was the most watched Korean film of 2015. So there you go. Yeah. So that's my number 2 pick, which thus scores 5 points. It's probably not on anybody else's list, I'm guessing.
No, I do not know this movie, but I am going to go out of my way to know this movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's an English subbed Blu-ray because last time I checked, there wasn't. Which was, otherwise I would have a physical film. I do have a digital copy of it,
Yeah.
And it was on YouTube for free for quite a while. I think the director probably got fed up of it not getting proper distribution. I think he may well put it up himself.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. It's a really great movie. So that's my number 2 pick. Inside Man, what's yours?
My number 2 pick is Down the Defiant.
Okay. Do you want to add anything?
I don't think there's.
You've already said it.
I don't think there's anything more I can add, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
So that scores 4 points. So that puts Dan Defiant in the lead at the moment with 7 in total. Yeah. So what's your number 2 pick then, Darth?
We were just talking about it. I closed my list. Shoot, it was your number 4. The Inside Man's number 4, or the Battle of Atlantic.
Which one?
In which we
the Cruel Sea.
Yeah.
No, In Which We Serve, I think.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't seen In Which We
Serve.
No,
sorry. It must be the Cruel Sea. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the Cruel Sea. Yeah.
Cruel Sea. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that's my number 2. That movie, I already commented on this. I think.
Yeah.
Well, look at.
Yes, you have.
The thing about that, look at Churchill talked about the Battle of the Atlantic. He said that was the one theater that he was most concerned about.
Yeah.
And if it had gone the other way, then Britain's participation in the war might not have been sustainable.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, the Germans were sinking like 90% of the tonnage that was going across the Atlantic. That was a losing battle. It really was.
It was.
I would talk about Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill. Good Lord, I would have hated to have been on a British ship in those days. Never mind military; there were civilians, and this is a million and civilian thing because there's civilian shipping going across. So you cannot have higher stakes than what you see in Cruel Sea.
I mean, I think this was when we talk about the American contribution to the war. Particularly pre-1942. Okay, I know there's this thing that we have in the UK. There's this thing this kind of thing that we have in Britain, which is a lot of Brits say, "Oh, America came in. We were at war. We'd already been at war for 3 years, and for almost 3 years, and." They came in at the last minute, and they like to think that they were the cavalry and they saved the day. Well, hang on just for 1 minute, right? They may not necessarily have been boots on the ground, but when it comes to the Atlantic convoys, when it comes to the American contribution and the Canadian contribution to the war effort in the United Kingdom, it's unsurpassed. I can't think of anything worse than being on board one of these vessels and trying to get across the Atlantic to provide supplies, munitions, armaments, food, and other vital things for our our daily life and infrastructure. I can't think of the kind of danger, can't imagine the kind of danger, can't imagine the fear that these men must have had to have endured to have brought this from the US and Canada to United Kingdom. I can't imagine how frightening that must have been. So
yes,
as far as I'm concerned, even though there may not necessarily have been boots on the ground at the time, until 42, but America's contribution to the war effort really, it was. We're talking, Torch,
North Africa,
Operation Torch, but prior to that, this was America's contribution to the war effort. It was immense. It was immense.
At what point
I'm reading this. Operation Pedestal.
Yeah.
Which is the big convoy that went to save Malta, basically, and Malta was running out of food and fuel. Great book. I'm about a third of the way in.
Oh, right.
I would love to see a mini-series or a movie about Pedestal. God, that would be good.
At what point?
It was the biggest single fleet assembled in World War II for one specific mission by the Allies.
Incredible.
Not counting things like D-Day and stuff, but for purely a naval mission, this had the biggest fleet ever assembled in World War II. So.
At what point did the U.S. extend the convoy duty to the midway point of the Atlantic before they joined the war? They were escorting convoys up to about halfway through the Atlantic at one point.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and the strange thing about that is, and I was completely unaware of this, that there was a high level of air support as well.
Yeah,
I didn't realize the level of air support that had gone on.
Only until the halfway point.
Yeah,
so the German just pulled back.
Yeah,
and you know what, the Germans were not happy about this, and that led to a number of unpublished, outside of the media, in exchanges between the German government and the U.S. The German did sink 3 U.S. destroyers in 1941 before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So Cruel Sea was your
number 2.
Number 2. Inside Man, did you do your number 2?
I did my number 2 a little bit earlier. But my number 2 on this list was always make sure I have a healthy number 2 every day. But my number 2 on this list was Damn the Defiant.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Very good. So all right. So Damn the Defiant. Was your Damn the Defiant wasn't on Darth Plato's list, was it?
No.
I haven't seen the movie.
He hasn't seen it. That's fine.
I'll tell you what. I think I know where this is going for number 1.
Yeah, that brings us to number 1. I have a feeling I know where this is going as well. Purely by coincidence, I'm going to show a clip of a movie which may or may not be related to our number 1 topic. Shall we have a quick look?
Let's have a look.
Let's see.
Occupy a place of honor in the history of the Third Reich. This message is signed by the Führer.
Range 4,000 yards.
420. Fire when the sights come on.
Two enemy destroyers on port bow, sir. Alarm port. Alarm port, sir.
Range 4,000, bearing 300 degrees.
Guns ready, port. Guns ready, port, sir. Illuminate the star shell. Illuminate the star shell.
They've seen us. Now we're for it.
20 degrees to go, sir. Fire! All torpedoes gone, sir.
Let's get out of here. Hard a port.
Hard a port.
Open fire, main armament.
Torpedo hit amidship, sir.
Good man. Fire!
She's got the Solent.
Good shooting, Lindemann.
Cease firing.
Okay, great clip.
Yeah.
That's from Sink the Bismarck, which I think for me it's got all the key ingredients of a top naval film. I mean, first of all, it's a true story, obviously. It's an oldie, so but the model work in this, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to show 2 clips involving the model work, and I showed a clip at the very beginning of the movie. Still looks really good. I don't think it would look so good if the film was in color. It's good that it's a black and white movie. Also, the black and white gives it a real charming feel. And it's again, it's got that sort of historical feel to it. But it stars Kenneth More, whose story is largely played out at home. He's kind of one of the officers in the Admiralty in central London, where they're pushing, sticks across a board saying what ships are where. He's paired with Dana Winter, and their little narrative together is actually really beautiful. He's got a son who's an air pilot on the Ark Royal carrier, which of course its planes were largely responsible for disabling the Bismarck, and his son goes missing. So you've got this whole sort of backstory against the real history of, is his son alive or not? And that's all being played out. And he's already lost his wife, I think, in the Blitz, if I remember rightly, in the storyline. So there's this lovely little love sort of thing going on between Kenneth More and Dana Winter's characters, but they're both also being very British and very professional. And it's not until the last line of, oh, well, it's time for breakfast now. Would you like to go to breakfast? Oh, that sounds lovely. You know that they've got a future together, which is really quite nice. And then we have this fantastic history. We've got the German narrative as well, the German arrogance, which is, Admiral Rader's, arrogance on board the ship, and the stupid mistakes that Germany made. Why they split up the two battleships was that was an appalling decision, because they had originally the Bismarck was accompanied by the second ship, wasn't it? I forget the name of the second one. It was
you're thinking of the Tirpitz.
No, it wasn't the Tirpitz. No. There was another ship that was with it, which was a pocket. I think it was a pocket battleship. They both went out to sea together initially, and then they separated. And I think that was a poor decision.
The other ship with the Bismarck was the Prince Eugen.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Prince Eugen. Yeah.
The Tirpitz was supposed to be part of that engagement, but it had taken bomb damage from British flyers, and so it was out of action, so it couldn't participate. The Scharnhorst and the Reisenau, I might not be saying that right, Gneisenau, was also supposed to be part of that operation, but they had also taken damage and were not available for that. That mission was supposed to be a lot larger than that. And they were going to head for a convoy coming out of New York City. So back to the Battle of the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So even though it's a battleship, they're basically using it as a cruiser.
Well, I'll just tell you a few other things about the film, and then you guys can chip in. It had a budget of just over 1 million, so 1 million British pounds, 300,000, which in the year 1960 was a considerable sum of money. It made 3 million. Between US and Canada and the UK. It had its premiere on the 11th of February at the Odeon Leicester Square, 1960. So the Inside Man would have been an infant then.
No, I was a teenager at that time.
You're a teenager. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I mean, it covers, the heavy cruiser, Prince Eugen, and the Bismarck going out, attacking the convoys. You've got the narrative is from the underground war room with Kenneth More, and then the German warships engaged the Hood and the Prince of Wales in the Denmark Strait, and that was one of the things that I covered earlier. And of course, the destruction of the Hood is a very famous and also massive blow to British morale. It went up after taking one hit because it had a wooden deck, and I think they hit the magazine, and the whole thing went up very quickly. I think only 3 people survived, and one of the actors, one of the guys on one of the bridges, is the young lad that survived from the Hood. He's actually in this film. They gave him a cameo on the bridge. Yeah, Dana Winter, by the way, is absolutely stunning in this. And she's the spitting image of my mother when my mother was that age. So I've got some black and white photos of my mum from this, from the kind of like the same time period when this was filmed, 1960. And she looks very similar to Dana Winter, especially in this photograph. My mum had exactly that same haircut as well. They both had the dark hair and the dark eyes. But yeah, Kenneth Moore's great in this. I think this is one of Kenneth Moore's best performances. And it also handles all the different narratives between the different ships really cleverly. You're never lost in the film. You always know where you are. I think the only thing, you know, the aerial footage with the planes attacking the Bismarck hasn't aged well. And they did a really good documentary not a million moons ago. I'm sure Inside Man, you'd remember it. I think it was on Channel 4. And they had pretty nice sort of overhead computer footage, quite decent sort of CGI, early CGI, but pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Of the battle, so you could see where it was.
Yeah.
Once again, I thought, you know what? I might grab that footage one day, put it into black and white, and see if I can edit it into this movie to kind of give those shots and those perspectives. But it's a great film. It's one of the best British war films ever made, and I would also argue definitely the best British naval war film of all time. So that's my and I have a feeling it might also be your number one, Inside Man.
I'm afraid not, because I've already said my number one.
It's your number one.
My number one was Master and Commander.
Oh, Master and Commander. Okay, so this didn't make your top five.
No, it didn't. But there was actually a reason. And look,
fair enough.
There's one thing that I will say about this movie is that you know, it gives you a good overview of the situation. I found it. The only thing that I had against it was that I found it maybe a little bit too charming.
Yeah, I can accept that. I think because it's aged in that way.
Yeah. It had a bit of a reach for the sky kind of charm to it.
Yeah.
And that isn't a bad thing. You know, it isn't a bad thing at all. I mean, it's a terrific movie about an incredible group of human beings who managed to sink this menace. I mean, what can you say? What can you say? I have to say, as a kind of one of my sort of semi-final thoughts, and that is that I cannot express my absolute admiration for the men of the Royal Navy and other naval forces around the world that have put themselves on these bits of floating wood and metal across the ages, and what they've actually done. I can't fathom it out. I can't. It's something I can't get my head round. You know, the danger that they've been in, that they've put themselves in, and the bravery that they've displayed in the face of terrible odds, overwhelming odds. And this is a great example of that. This movie is a great example of that.
This is also directed by Lewis Gilbert, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So, and again, you know, it's one of those. It's one of those things that absolutely confirms for me that he really was one of the great action directors. He really, he genuinely was one of the great action directors. We're not just talking about storytelling here. We're not just talking about characterization. But shooting action is a very, very difficult thing to do. Extremely difficult. As easy as people may think that it is, and as easy as it seems today with all the quick cuts and all of that kind of, you know, the kind of tech that everybody has these days. Go back to these times. Go back to 1960, and then try to shoot what they had to shoot on the budget that they had to shoot it with the equipment they had to shoot it with. You know, but this is a prime example of why Lewis Gilbert is such and was such a talented director, and it is a great film. There's no question it's a great film. It just had too much charm for me.
This might be heresy to say this. Whilst I don't want a remake of Sink the Bismarck per se, I would love to see a new movie about the hunt for the Bismarck and depicting those events, because it's definitely a story which could, massively benefit from, updated visual effects. And I think a sharper script, but I do love this film. I think it's a great one to watch to give you an overview of how the British Navy functioned, and it's quite historically accurate as well.
Yes, it is. But I 100% agree with you. To see an updated version of this would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and again, just to state, not a remake of Sink the Bismarck, just another movie about these historical events.
Yeah,
would be most welcome.
Yeah, 100%.
Darth, is your number one this, or is it Master and Commander?
My number one pick is Yellowbeard. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
That would not have been allowed.
No. My number one pick is Sink the Bismarck.
Oh, it is Sink the Bismarck as well. Okay, great. Well,
I saw it coming.
Well, that means that it's the winner then, because it scores 10.
Oh, it's a winner, all right.
Yeah.
I will say this though. What disappointed me most about this movie, someone might want to call it nitpicking. That's fine. But on the German ship, you had the admiral and you had the captains, Lutyens and Lindemann. I think that were their names.
Yeah.
And Lutyens did not want to engage the British. He wanted to make a run for it. And Lindemann was the one who's saying, "No, we got to stand our ground." Lindemann was the one who overrode the admiral. It's not supposed to happen that way. the admiral's been in charge, but for whatever reason, he decided, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." And so he gave the order to fire for your loudness, and that was that. And part of the problem for the British, I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but part of the problem for the British at the start of that engagement is they misidentified the ships at the start of the battle. So they were actually firing on the Prince of Eugen and not the Bismarck.
Right.
So that went on for about, I think, 11 minutes before they changed targets. That might have made a difference.
Yeah, that that happened in the first engagement, and then
I meant the first engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Prince Eugen buggered off, which was, or they separated ways. If they'd stayed together, I think it would have taken a lot longer for the Bismarck to have been disposed of. It's my personal view. Dana Winter, incidentally, was under contract for, I think it was 20th Century Fox at the time that she shot this, but Kenneth More got this role on Lewis Gilbert's recommendation because he'd worked with him on a smaller production. But this was really Kenneth More's first big movie. So this was the one that kind of made him a British household name, because this film was massively successful in the UK. It was a number of other interesting cameos. Maurice Denham is in there. Lawrence Naismith as the first Sea Lord is in there, and of course many people will remember him as being the amazing Mr. Blunden in The Amazing Mr. Blunden. I'm talking about
best version.
The best version. Yeah, the only version.
The only version. Yeah.
No one talks about that new one. I mean, everybody.
The Mock Cases one.
Been and gone. Michael Horden is Admiral Sir John Tovey. So you've got Michael Horden in there, who just, his voice is just such an amazing voice, that man.
Wonderful.
There's a young David Hemmings in this movie as a seaman on the Ark Royal, uncredited, but if you watch him, you can see him in the movie. Johnny Briggs as well, who was also in Dan the Defiant, is also in this, and he's a young seaman on the Prince of Wales.
Yeah, and also in Coronation Street.
That's right. Yeah.
Wait a second. The Ark Royal, wasn't that sunk at? Am I thinking of the Royal Oak?
The Ark Royal was involved in this battle, but it sent the plane.
Okay, I was thinking of
the Royal Oak is a battleship that got sunk. I think in the I think it was sunk in Singapore.
I thought it was Scapa Flow.
It might have been. Was that the one that the Germans?
Yeah, they went in through the security net. Yeah, and they fired off short torpedoes.
That's right. Yeah.
What was that ship? The Royal Oak.
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak. Okay, I mixed. Sometimes I mix that the Royal Oak and the Ark Royal for some reason. I don't know why. The word Royal kind of throws me off.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, again, the model work in this movie is something I absolutely love, and it's really well done, and a precursor to exploding ships that we would see on Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
So the final scores then, gentlemen, are Sink the Bismarck is the number 1 spot. Second is Master and Commander. And third is Damn the Defiant.
Oh.
Those 3 have got the top points.
That's pretty
between
good.
us. I'm interested to know for the people in the chat, what would be your number 1 pick? What would be your naval? Yeah, I know the Prince Eugen was a cruiser and not a battleship, but I feel that the 2 of them together, if they'd stayed together the whole time, still would have put up a more formidable opponent, because obviously, you know, when there's only one target, it makes a big difference. Thank you. Yeah, Royal Oak was sunk in 1939.
Yeah, 39. It was the eve of the war, yeah.
Yeah. Master and Commander, Roman Empire, absolute gold. Loves it.
Yeah. But it's when I was a kid. This is Darth's honourable number 1 mention, Yellowbeard. When I was a kid, I wrote to Graham Chapman, and I didn't think that I was going to get a letter back, but I got a letter back from Graham Chapman. I was a big Monty Python fan as a kid. And in this big, thick envelope that I received, as well as the letter, was the full script of Yellowbeard. And I still have it. In fact, I actually have it. I have it next to me right now. It's in my it's in my one of my folders, but I actually have it down with me right now. The full script of Yellowbeard, and it's in a big yellow cover with a big window on it, and yeah, so he sent me a letter with the full script, which is quite nice.
Stagger, crawl, stagger, crawl. Any questions? Any other questions?
But yeah, but yeah, Sink the Bismarck. I mean, it's. I have nothing really against the movie. It just, I suppose, whenever we do these top 5s, or whenever anyone does a top 5, we all have our own personal criteria that we feel that we need to meet, and that's really what it boils down to. And these are purely subjective.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, they're just purely personal choice and everything. And any movie that didn't make it onto my list is not to say that they're bad movies.
No. It doesn't invalidate them. I mean, the main reason we do this is not to shout one movie above others, but it's a constructive format of a way of bringing choices to people's attention that you might not have heard of before.
Absolutely.
I mean, believe it or not, there's probably a lot of people that haven't seen Sink the Bismarck because it's so old. Yeah. Certainly a lot of people will have never heard of Northern Limit Line. And Sink the Bismarck, there's a really great, someone's done a 70mm transfer to YouTube, and the link for that, which isn't even as good as my DVD, I don't think. The link for that, I've just put it in the chat. So it's a really nice, so it's not a pan and scan, you know what I mean? It's a really nice full frame. And when I put it on, I was like, oh, that's a bit of a weird, it's like 16:9 on the old widescreen format of VHS. It's actually the right framing. So it's great that they did that. So you can find that there. I'm just going to check to see if Northern Limit Line is still on.
I want to watch that for sure.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great. I mean, definitely listen. Have tissues at the end. It's got a great score. The music is very powerful. You heard the the music then when I played the trailer. I did the search and my watch party. I did a watch party for it 2 years ago, almost to the day. How funny is that?
Wow.
There's some really interesting documentaries on it. And here you go. I haven't been able. I don't think the whole film's on there anymore. But look, you'll be able to find it. Just have a hunt around. But one of the things that is really interesting is, as I said, you can go and see the boat, and check this out for a second, because here it is. Here's the real PKM 357, and these red marks are all the impact hits on the boat of the fire that it took, and so you can see all the different places where it took damage. Those are the rotating gun towers. I think the ship's got 2 of those. So yeah, the caliber of the rounds going in, the size of the hull. Imagine if that hit you, that would take your arm off, and you can see all the different impact hits inside the ship as well. So
it's amazing.
It's now you go inside the ship and you can see where they all came in as well, which is
when you first started showing that, I thought it was real blood, but that can't be right.
No, it's not real blood, but I think the ones that have got the larger marks around them were also impacts that actually hit people.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I think what's interesting about this, certainly as a choice, is that we tend to, us as Westerners, I think we tend to focus on things, maybe conflicts that have affected us more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is something which obviously it doesn't detract from the level of bravery that these men have, the fear that they endured and the bravery that they had, because they were on the other side of the world to us. We do. It's kind of, we have our own historical context, I suppose, is what I'm saying. And if it doesn't necessarily line up with our historical context, then somehow we tend to perhaps be a little bit ignorant, I think. But that I think is true of everybody. I think it's whether you're on one side of the world or another. We look at things that are closest to us.
Unfortunately, our youth are becoming that way too. They're not familiar with our own history.
Yeah,
let alone the other side of the world.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but no, you're making a great point, and I'm really glad that Lance. I heard this movie before, but I completely forgot about it, and I thank you, Lance, for reminding me of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, we've had some great war movies out of Korea, but here's an interesting story. By the way, this story, I don't know if this story's a day old, because the thing is only posted yesterday. Yeah, let me put this up. I'm not going to play the video. People can go and find it themselves. 20 elite soldiers stole a submarine to escape North Korea. That's a movie. That's a movie waiting to be made right there.
Wow. Yeah, I hope that's true.
This is dropped 1 day ago. I think it's probably somebody talking about it, cutting with lots of footage. There he is, the man with the funny haircut. But yeah, 20 elite soldiers got a submarine, and I can't wait to find out more about that.
Wow.
I'm guessing that's going to be suppressed in the North Korean media.
Well, you would think so. 20 elite North Special Forces, a desperate escape from freedom. This is a story of their courage and survival against the odds. I mean, that's bonkers. Somebody here is saying it's fiction. I don't know. Maybe it is. could be one of those videos that's been made up to get views, but maybe not. But it's recent. That video was posted yesterday, 7,000 views already. So,
well, I tell you what, guys. Given the panel here and given the chat, I can't say that I'm surprised that nobody listed Battleship.
No, somebody did ask me, is that a valid choice? And I said, yeah, it's predominantly a naval movie. Okay, it's against aliens. Yeah, you can have that.
Actually, that raises a good question. So somebody in the chat mentioned Balance of Terror and TOS. So off the top of my head,
I mean, you could have Balance of Terror and Wrath of Khan technically are both naval engagements, but they don't take place on the surface. They take place in space.
Yeah. But that's not what I was going to say. I would say best naval engagement for a sci-fi, not necessarily a movie.
For a well, it's got to be Wrath of Khan for me.
Okay.
I like the ones in Babylon 5. I know that the effects are very big.
That's where I was going to go with that. Yeah,
I do like the Babylon 5.
The Proxima battle. I mean, in my opinion, that's the best space battle ever shown in movie or TV.
Right. Yeah. That one's very good. All right. Well, that brings it to an end.
It's not the 3-hour mark yet.
No, but it's. I'm quite happy to finish. I'm quite happy to.
We're only halfway through the show.
This is a last. They're not all 3 hours long. This is a last minute.
That was last minute for me too. I didn't even know you were doing this stream until like less than an hour in. I looked on. I looked on YouTube. I'm like, oh my god, I got to get on this.
Yeah, I tell you, I'll show you a quick. I mean, again, do check out my Chew the Fat video on the Northern Limit Line. It's a great. We really talked through the whole movie. I can't remember who was on the panel of that now, but there's loads of making ofs, right? So this is one of the making ofs of Northern Limit Line, and this shows you how they filmed a sea battle. So they're under fire on the ship here. And then look at this. This is how it was shot.
Interesting.
They basically had the full-size version of the ship built in the studio, surrounded by green screen. And when I saw that, I was really surprised because I thought most of the stuff that they did also have a duplicate boat that they took out to see for the sort of departure shots and stuff like that. But I did think that most of it was filmed on board the, out at sea. But all the combat stuff was all shot in this studio, and you can see the guy down at the bottom here on the right firing the paintball gun. Look, so he's firing the paintball gun. Yeah. So that'd be to get like ricochet hits and things off whatever, and also to. And I love the way that the cameraman is completely encased in this like bubble, because to protect him from the various effects and explosions and things that are going off. And but it's great when you see this sort of stuff.
It is.
It shows you how much goes into it.
Actually, my brother did a movie over at Pinewood. Where they built a ship. They built certainly the deck of a ship, and it was the what's the name of the ship that Quint was on that got sunk and all the shots?
Oh, it was that Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah.
That was another one that I saw the trailer for at Cannes. And it got made into a movie. But the movie was a bit pants.
Yeah. What was the name of the ship?
I'm trying to remember now. And that's the name of the movie, isn't it? The USS.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Somebody will know. It will come up in chat. It's because he names it in the speech.
Yeah.
And, when they trailered that film at Cannes, Indianapolis. Thank you.
Indianapolis. Yeah.
Yeah. They basically had that speech from Jaws, cut with a load of footage of a ship going out to sea, which had obviously was early CG footage for the movie, and then cut with it getting hit. None of the footage with the main actors in it yet. Yeah, USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage, Nicolas Cage and Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
And I swear all the explosion footage, I swear was stuff that was lifted from but not used from like Pearl Harbor and a couple of other modern World War II movies. I did watch the film. I mean, it's got some good bits in it, but it's not a great movie, is it?
No.
So it didn't hit the top. I don't think it wasn't an awful movie. It was just very average, and it did feel like Nick Cage was sort of, mate, we're gonna pay you a big chunk of money and you're gonna do 10 days of filming in a water tank. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you could tell that they cut around him a lot because he's not in a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's basically the one, but it just felt a bit cheap.
Was he wearing MacArthur sunglasses?
That was a massive fuck up, that, because, hardly anybody knew the ship was there and stuff like that. And, they didn't realize it was missing and for fucking ages. So,
I'm getting so many flashbacks just listening to you guys. Do you guys remember a TV movie? I think it was late 80s, early 90s. Usually it was here in the States. It was about an explosion on a U.S. battleship. The turret blew up and the Navy tried to cover it up.
Yes, that's one of the plot lines in When We Rise, the 5-part LGBT drama about various iconic people to do with gay rights, and it goes from the 60s right through to the present day, and it covers things like the AIDS epidemic and stuff like that. But in the early episodes, one of the guys is having a love affair with one of the men who was killed in that turret, and that's in When We Rise. But there is also a TV movie about that. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that was like a round of one of the shells exploded, didn't it?
Yeah,
one of the shells went on. Yeah. I did see that movie. I can't recall much about it, which I think it was just sort of very forgettable.
Yeah, it's one of those things that the Navy would rather you forget.
Yeah.
Well, indeed. I'll just I'll have a quick Google to see if I can get the name of that movie.
Well, there's a lot of stuff like that. I mean, with the Spithead Mutiny, nothing to see here. That was bad.
No, but there was only one movie about that particular event, because that was quite unique. A turret explosion.
It was a TV movie.
No. The USS Cole was
no, the
USS Iowa turret explosion occurred in 1989. That's it.
Yeah.
I think USS Iowa turret explosion.
Yeah, there was a 3-star there too. He witnessed it.
Oh,
you're the captain of that ship. That's the end of your career.
Well, indeed.
Look at if you're piloting a ship and you so much as hit a fishing boat, that right, you're getting really just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just there's a massive Wikipedia page on the whole thing, and also the Navy investigation, Truett and Hartwig media reports, blah blah blah.
And if it happened a second time, they'll sack the admin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure this is. I feel like the one that's depicted in the TV series happened before '89, like in the '60s, but I might be wrong. But so maybe this isn't the only time the rounds come on.
89 sounds about right.
Yeah, various lawsuits and things. There's nothing about it being featured on them. Normally, there's a section on Wikipedia that says "in the media," and then you get the names of movies and things like that.
Sure.
So, I did see that documentary, Blibbity Blop. Yeah, that was good. It was a good documentary. I did see that. And there's also the USS Iowa disaster 34 years later. This content is not available in your region. I wonder if the Navy had it taken down. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, okay. Fair enough. All right.
If you give the Navy an excuse to roll head, they'll roll heads. Like some years ago, there was an incident twice in 1 month. In 1 month, mind you, a sub surfaced. It hit a fishing boat, and then it happened a second time. A sub surfaced and hit a boat. They not only sacked those commanders, but they sacked the admiral at Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, don't hit fishing boats. Yeah, I noticed that all the articles about this online that have been referenced on Wikipedia have all been removed.
Look at that. Wikipedia. Come on.
Oh wait, I've got one. Okay, one is Business Insider. There you go. So here's if anyone wants to read about that. There we are. Number 2 turret on the battleship exploded, killing dozens of American sailors.
Yeah,
47 people.
It was one of the front turrets. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was the front. It was one of the front turrets.
Yeah, there's a pretty extensive. There's pretty extensive
mishandling of gunpowder or something. There was an explosion inside the turret. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. All right. Well, I'll talk about another time. Well, just reminds me to say thank you to the Inside Man and Darth Plato for taking part today.
Wait, let me think of another rabbit hole to throw in front of you.
No, I've got to get off. Thanks to everyone in the chat. We had a nice engagement in the chat. It's always nice when people are quite passionate about things. And yeah, I'm going to be back on Monday with an industry interview. I'll be feeling slightly hungover because it's a massive rave weekend this weekend. In order to stave off the fact that it's Valentine's Day and I'm on my Todd, I'm going to not 1, not 2, but 3 day raves on Saturday. So all between the hours of 1 and 4 a.m., 1 p.m. and 4 a.m. So I'm going to be quite tired come Sunday. So there won't be a Chew the Fat this Sunday. On Monday, I am going to be interviewing house music DJ Carly Denham. Looking forward to welcoming her on the channel. We will be chatting around 8 o'clock. So that will be 8 p.m. on Monday. Then on Tuesday, of course, we've got the Nielsen ratings, my weekly show where we're talking about films old and new, on TV shows, in fact, that we might want to recommend to you. Inside Man, you missed us talking about the new version of Lord of the Flies.
With Cass and
Noah.
Noah, yeah.
I gave them a massive shout out. They did a really good job, I have to say. They did a
fantastic job. I'm really happy for them.
If you're there on Tuesday and you want to give us your thoughts, do pop in and let me know what you thought of it.
Okay, mate. Okay. Yeah.
Very Terrence Malick version of if Terrence Malick guys, this is what it would be like.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny because it's elicited a lot of complaints from people going, oh my god, this is very grim. It's a very dark and disturbing. So, and
not read the book. Not read the book.
Right? You didn't read the book. The book is supposed to be fucking dark and disturbing. What are you on about?
I mean, the book. I mean, my goodness. I mean, we did that as set text at school.
Yeah.
And
same.
And we were like, what on earth is this?
Yeah, it was on the English O levels syllabus for quite a long time.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, we had that for fun also.
The book is very disturbing.
Very grim.
Yeah.
They do deviate in a few things, but not a lot.
It's a very good critique of Rousseau.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it from us. So we're going to be shooting off now. Back again on Monday at 8 o'clock.
Will you be my Valentine?
No.
today.